The plan for the Vikings starting quarterback has seemingly been revealed in a recent report from Jeremy Fowler. He has mentioned that one of the quarterbacks have been named the franchise quarterback. We're going to be talking about who this is, as well as what this means going forward for not just JJ McCarthy, Sam Darnold, and Daniel Jones, but what it means for the plan in free agency as well. We're going to be talking about all of that here in this video. Before we get into it, though, we know that 91% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're looking for a spot for all of your Minnesota Vikings news, you're in the right spot. Hit the sub button. Join us here on the channel. We are covering everything Minnesota Vikings news, and with so much stuff coming up soon, you won't want to miss anything from this team. We're going to have it all here for you as quick as we can. But without any further ado, let's get into our first screenshot here, kind of going in to the quotes from Jeremy Fowler and what he had to say on this report of the Vikings quarterbacks. As appearing on a recent edition of SportsCenter, ESPN's NFL insider Jeremy Fowler attempted to unpack the Vikings' current quarterback landscape, more specifically, what next season could mean for JJ McCarthy as a consistent NFL starter. And when talking about JJ McCarthy, this is what he had to say on the topic. But all options are on the table for Minnesota. But what was made clear to me is that JJ McCarthy will be the franchise quarterback. They have no plans to trade them. It just depends on whether that's 6 months from now, 12 months, 18 months, and watch for Daniel Jones. He was on the roster last year. He could be a cheaper alternative to Sam Darnold. There could be some interest there to bring him back. Now, this is a whole lot to unpack here, especially when it comes down to not just J.J. McCarthy as the franchise quarterback, but also mentioning Daniel Jones as a potential backup to J.J. McCarthy this year instead of Sam Darnold. Now, we've been seeing a whole lot of reports about Sam Darnold, really ever since the NFL awards when Kevin O'Connell mentioned that he has a major part in the future of this team. A lot of confusion stirred from that, but as we move in to what we're seeing right now from not just J.J. McCarthy, but also the whole quarterback scheme of what is planning to go over, we've been talking about J.J. McCarthy being the guy that should be that number one right now. Of course, he has to earn it yet. Once again, he wants a fair chance. He's been saying that, but as he does progress into becoming healthier and whatnot, he's going to be leading that candidate, especially for the price he's making, as well as the ability that he's going to bring. You know, there's been a whole lot of people talking about how his impact on this team has been making this team already feel more excited about next season. And that's nothing against Sam Darnold. It's just when you draft a guy like J.J. McCarthy as high as you did, your plan is to bring him in as the future, and the players are obviously excited about that. And I will get into a quote in a little bit here about Justin Jefferson, what he had to say on the topic, so stick around to take a look at that here. But one thing about Sam Darnold is what he's mentioned. He wants to stay in Minnesota. Regardless of McCarthy's health status, it still seems like McCarthy may get the fair chance to prove himself after suffering a season-ending injury, which was a meniscus tear in his right knee before last regular season and before it began. So JJ McCarthy, you know, that preseason game that he played well. Obviously could not have gotten another chance because of that injury, but he was really leading a chance to be that starter last year, and ultimately it was given to Sam Darnold because of the injury, but also Sam Darnold also looked good. He also proved himself, and we saw where that took us. It took us very deep in the season, a great record, but ultimately wasn't as far as we'd like to go. And when we do kind of look back on that season, of course, Sam Darnold was a big part of why we got there, but a lot of it is also due to the lack of playoff experience he's had. He's had a lot of experience in his NFL career, although it may not be the best that we can get. But starting off with J.J. McCarthy, who has a national championship, who's gone through the whole college process as a star. And, you know, even though we see Sam Darnold a third overall pick, a lot was put on his plate right away. Not the greatest position for him, but J.J. McCarthy is coming into a great location to become a starter and has already been here a year, already understands the system, already got an idea of what, you know, not just the playbook, but how these players play. And that's going to be a big advantage for him coming into this season and coming into, what is going to be hopefully his first year as an actual starter. And when we look at the Vikings cap space, $59.4 million as of right now. And when we do look at the contracts that J.J. McCarthy is making, what Daniel Jones will be making if he, of course, is re-signed and whatnot, compared to what Sam Darnold is making, we've been speaking a lot about this, me and Griffin here. Sam Darnold is going to be making around $40 million. And that is a lot of money to pay a quarterback who, still took us to a very, very good spot, but still, that was 1 year. What happens next year? He's proved himself to earn a chance in free agency, and he proved himself that, and proved to a lot of teams that he can still play this way, but the way that last season ended, there was a lot of issues there, not all due to him, a lot of pressure that was put on him by the offensive line. that was just a whole scheme of issues that, even if it's JJ McCarthy, Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, won't change unless the offensive line gets better. And the only way the offensive line gets better is if you spend this cap space that you have. But getting Sam Darnold back would limit who you can get on this offensive line to be able to help out this team. So it all kind of comes down to a scheme of what the plan is and how they kind of want to attack this offseason. The best option, I think, by far, is to keep JJ McCarthy as that starting quarterback and go as Daniel Jones with the backup. And when we're looking at Daniel Jones, I will get back to that in a moment. With Daniel Jones hitting free agency, can he experience a similar career turnaround to a short stay in Minnesota? Will the Vikings bring Jones back for a backup for JJ McCarthy? What sort of salary can Jones command in the free agency market? And for an answer to that last question, we can look over the cap, who currently has Jones projected to command a contract just over $13.3 million. That's clearly backup money, but will be significantly more than the 1.125 base salary Jones had last year with the Vikings in 2024 after being bought out by the Giants. So, comparing that $13.3 million to the $40 million that Sam Darnold is projected, it certainly is a much better contract when you plan to have JJ McCarthy start off as that starting quarterback with a backup that still has been pretty good in the past, but once again, very, very similar to Sam Darnold. Been put in a horrible spot with the New York Giants. And obviously, he had that playoff win against Minnesota a couple years ago, but other than that, his career in New York, Daniel Jones, didn't have the best situation for him. The team was not very good. They had very few wide receivers and just didn't have, the chemistry, it felt like, with the team that the Minnesota Vikings could certainly bring to his career. So as we look to this, it really does make sense that we do look at Daniel Jones as a backup for JJ McCarthy and look at him as a, possible starter if need be. If JJ McCarthy's not ready, if he goes down with an injury again, I really trust Daniel Jones in this locker room. If we can do it with Sam Darnold, we can do it with Daniel Jones as well. I have no doubt about that. But as it does come down to JJ McCarthy, and as I mentioned about Justin Jefferson, this is what Justin Jefferson had to say on the topic. He said, our lockers are really right next to each other, so every single day we're chopping it up, having that connection with him before he even steps on the field. That's something that's special. That's a very, very exciting quote to have, not just from, the Vikings system, not just like the plan for the future, but also that Justin Jefferson, number one wide receiver, has already started to kind of take JJ McCarthy under the wing of these veteran players. And it's crazy to already call Justin Jefferson a veteran, but when you put him into this system as the number one wide receiver in the league, put him with a rookie quarterback that, is going to be filling some big shoes here for Sam Darnold in this next season, he's going to be ready for it. Justin Jefferson's going to make sure he's going to be ready for it, and it's already bringing that family aspect back into this team that JJ McCarthy has been having at Michigan in his career. So it's going to be a familiar spot for him, although there is going to need to be some filling of some holes, that offensive line, running back, the defense. There's going to be a need for that. So having JJ McCarthy as that starter with that price will really just make everything seem to fall right into place compared to, although it would be great, Sam Darnold and that contract that he would be commanding in free agency. So let me know what you think about all of this news. Obviously, it's very exciting to kind of look at the outcome of what next season is going to be, and obviously it's still very nervous, but the fact that we have now a sort of clarity on the free agency aspect and what's going to happen to the quarterback, and JJ McCarthy being labeled as the franchise quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings is a very good look on what is coming next. So let me know what you think about this here in the comments below. But that's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. And that's all I got. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.